All right, today I wanted to dig into a topic that hits close to home for a lot of people in this business, and that is why most tax sale investors quit and why you hopefully won't. First off, before we get started, my name is Casey Dimon. I've been investing in tax defaulted real estate for more than 22 years. I started at age 18 from scratch, and I've gained lots and lots of valuable experience over the years that I use to teach new tax sale investors through my videos, through my book, and through the Tax Sale Academy. So here's the deal. Tax sale investing is full of opportunity, but it also has its fair share of dropouts, people that just end up quitting. And after spending years and years of listening to feedback from people that watch videos like the ones I have on YouTube and listen to the Tax Sale podcast, I've seen the same patterns over and over and over again. So in this episode, I not only wanted to call those patterns out that will lead to you quitting, but I also want to help equip you to overcome those same patterns. So if you're serious about the tax sale business, if you're serious about making money in this business, this is a fantastic episode for you. Let's get right to it. The first one is they simply don't understand how this business works. They hear things like tax liens, redeemable deeds, tax deeds, title clouds, auction formats, quiet titles, due diligence, OTC. It all sounds like another language to a lot of people. But let me tell you something, that is not rocket science, because I'm certainly not a rocket scientist. It's just a little bit different than most people are used to, and it takes some time to actually learn this business. Now, it's very important to note that different does not mean difficult. There's two different layers to it. There's people that see those words, they see a few things about this business, say, whoa, that's way too complicated for me. Then you have the people that take the completely opposite angle and they read a few terms, go to Google, read one sentence on Google and think they are an expert. Listen, neither one of those approaches is going to work for you. You can absolutely learn this business, but you have to commit to the process to really understand it. You can't just jump in blindly and expect everything to magically work out in your favor, because I'm here to tell you it will not. Tax sale investing requires that you put in the time to learn this business. It's a different kind of real estate investment. But when you take the time to learn it, everything will eventually start to click, and that's when you're really off to the races. The next one, it's just way too different than what people are used to. It's not a matter of understanding it or not. They just see it and they say, this thing is completely different than I'm used to, and I don't want to get involved. This was a little bit personal to me because if you know my backstory, I got into real estate shortly after I turned 18 as a realtor, as a real estate agent. You know, I was surrounded by career agents in my office. This was back before remote working was popular and that kind of thing. So you went to an office every single day. There were 20 or 30 top producing agents all around me. But when I started to learn about the tax sale business, I remember walking from office to office, asking everybody if they knew anything about tax liens or tax deeds. And they looked at me like I was crazy. They had zero interest in it, not because it didn't work, but because they had no idea what it was. And I'm here to tell you, if something is unfamiliar to the masses, there is huge opportunity there if you approach it correctly. Tax sale investing is unlike any other part of real estate. So even if somebody has real estate experience, they likely don't know much about the tax sale business. It is a niche inside of a niche. And that's what makes it so powerful, but can also lead to a lot of people to be very hesitant. You know, the systems are different. The strategies are different. The people you deal with are different. The process is different. But once you accept this, once you commit the time to learn the process, you learn what people are involved, you learn the systems, you can stop comparing it to all other kinds of real estate and start winning as a tax sale investor. So take the time to really embrace the uniqueness of this business. Next one, paralysis by analysis. Listen, I know there's a lot of information about the tax sale business that is out there. I've put the majority of that information out there. I've got thousands and thousands of videos out there. I've got my book. I got the Tax Sale Academy. There's a lot of information when it comes to this business. But a lot of people will choose one or two things and begin to really overthink it. I see this all the time on YouTube. Somebody will comment on a video saying that they want to invest, but they're stuck on something so super minor, like they've been working for 6 months trying to set up an LLC. First off, an LLC setup is maybe 30 minutes or an hour, so it shouldn't take that long. But secondly, they get so fixated on one topic that they don't push forward. No, don't get me wrong. Details do matter in this business, but they cannot stop you from moving forward. If you try to have every single answer before you make the first move, you're going to be sitting on the sidelines for the rest of your life. The real way to grow in this business, learn the fundamentals. Get a system or a strategy of some sort. Take some formal training that puts everything in order for you like we offer through the Tax Sell Academy. And then take action. Reflect. Adjust. Keep moving forward. That is how real investors are made. Not from overanalyzing, but from doing. If you're feeling stuck, I want you to ask yourself, is this one little thing that I'm obsessing over actually a deal breaker? Or is it an excuse not to move forward? There's a big difference there. The next one, I'm going to call it like it is. People don't want to work. A lot of people want the reward, but they don't want to do the work. They see tax sale investing as a shortcut to riches. Like they'll magically get a $100,000 house for $20 tomorrow. They'll flip it and they'll go live in Tahiti or something, right? And sure, fantastic deals do exist, but those deals will go to the people who put in the time, the ones who researched all the properties, who understood the auction process, who learned the business, who had everything ready to go, and who has probably attended many, many auctions. The best deals that I've ever seen in this business that I was a part of were not the result of going to one or two auctions and stumbling across something and going in and cashing a massive check. No, instead, they were me putting in the work for years and years and years to the point where I put myself in front of those opportunities simply because I kept putting in the time and I kept putting in the work. Now, mind you, I made incredible money on the way to those fantastic, phenomenal, grand slam type deals, but if you want the best deals, you've got to put in the work. This is not a passive, no effort type business. It's a real business. It requires effort. But, and here's the good part, the work you put in, as I was just talking about, will compound. You learn, you get faster, you get more efficient, you find better deals, you make more money, and you keep snowballing that. You build your momentum. So if you're looking for something that is going to make you rich tomorrow, this probably is not going to be your thing. But if you're willing to put in the work, this is one of the most accessible, scalable, and powerful businesses that exist. Next one, lack of patience. That will kill dreams very, very quickly. You know, we live in a world where everything is instant. We have food that can be delivered to our door. We have information at our fingertips. We have entertainment on our cell phones, on our TVs, everywhere we want it. You know, even people can go online and find a date, right? Everything is instant nowadays. So it makes sense that people want instant success in business too. Not with tax sale investing. Not with really any real business. You know, sometimes you might wait weeks and weeks for an auction to happen and you're researching properties. In the meantime, you go to that auction and you don't get a single property. And then you do it again. You don't get a single property. You know, I had somebody in the Tax Sale Academy that went an entire year before they got their first property. But after that, she ended up quitting her job and making substantially more money as a tax sale investor. And she's been doing it 5-6 years later now. So it takes time for some people. For the majority of people, it's not going to take you a year. But that was her scenario. She was super patient and she reaped the benefits from it. But be patient if it takes you time to see success. That is completely normal. This is a business. It requires consistent effort over time. You know, think of it like farming. You don't plant a seed and expect the fruit to come out of the ground the next day. You water it, you care for it, you take the time to figure out what you are doing before you plant it probably to make sure you don't plant it in the dead of winter, right? That's how wealth works. If you're chasing a win this week, again, this is not the place. If you want to build a solid foundation for long-term success, you must have patience. And I promise you that patience will pay off. The next one is fear. It's a big one because fear shows up in so many ways. You know, fear of starting something new, fear of starting something new and then failing, fear of losing money, fear of what other people will say. And you know what? I get it. Fear is very natural. It is very real. It is very overwhelming for a lot of people. But the solution to fear is not hiding. The solution to fear is taking action backed by knowledge. The more you learn, the less fear you will have. When you take the time to understand how things work, you will strip away the uncertainty. And suddenly what feels scary might feel just like a challenge now. Suddenly what you were fearful to take on is something that you cannot wait to take on. Start small. Make your first move. Even if it's just researching a list or attending an auction just to watch what's going on, that's a step. Every single step will help build your confidence. Fear does not go away on its own. That fear is going to remain until you fight against it. But when you do push forward and push through it, especially with the right training and the right support, you'll start to realize, I can do this, and I can do this well. Next one, unrealistic expectations. That's a massive reason a lot of people quit. Again, and it's going to be fast, it's going to be easy, it's going to be cheap. Kind of a combination of everything we discussed so far. And when it's not fast, when it's not easy, when it's not cheap, when it's not immediate, they give up. I've seen it time and time again. Somebody watches a video, they get super excited, they jump up and down. Yes, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to triple my money by next week. And when their first auction does not go their way, or their first 3 auctions does not go their way, or when they hit some sort of hurdle like dealing with occupants or title issues or code violations or whatever else it is, they're out. They quit the business. But here's what you have to understand. This is a long-term, sustainable, wealth-building business that has truthfully been around for centuries and centuries if you take it back to the Roman Empire days. It's not a lottery ticket. It's something that requires work, something that requires effort, something that requires realistic expectations. The best investors, the ones who stick around year after year, the ones that do this full time, are the ones that invest in themselves first. They commit to learning, they get help when they need it, and they treat it like a business. That's where the real magic in this business begins to happen. So let's recap. Most people quit this business because they don't understand it, because it's just different from what they know or expect, because they overanalyze everything, paralysis by analysis, because they don't want to put in the effort, because they lack patience, because they're afraid, or simply because they have unrealistic expectations. But you are hopefully not most people. You're still here. You're still listening. You're still watching my YouTube videos and listening to the Tax Sell podcast. You are willing to put in that effort. That tells me everything that I need to know about the kind of investor that you can become if you keep pressing forward. Listen, if you want more trainings, more deeper content, more structured content, check out the Tax Sell Academy at taxsellacademy.com. You can also take a look at my book, taxsellbook.com. The book is free if you cover the nominal cost for shipping, which is about the cost of a cup of coffee. But whatever you decide to do, my suggestion is that you keep pushing forward. You kind of tune into the business. You get the correct expectations. You realize you have to have patience. You realize you have to learn what you are doing. You realize you need to put in the effort. If you combine all those things, you will see success in this business. Do not quit based on one of those things that I talked about today. Overcome each and every one of those things, because I guarantee you, if you will, and when you do, you'll be set for the rest of your life. This business can change your life. You just have to stay in the game. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope this episode has helped you out. I'm Casey Dimon, and I'll see you next time on the Tax Sell Podcast. Make it a successful day. Bye-bye.